In today's video, I'm going to break down intervals for you and make it super easy to understand. My name is Rob Reed. Let's get into it. So what do pop songs, violin concertos, and heavy metal music all have in common? They all contain intervals. And the word interval sounds like something scary from a high school math class. Don't worry, this is super simple stuff. An interval is basically just the distance between two notes. An interval can be harmonic, so two notes played at the same time. Or an interval can be melodic, two notes played one after another. Intervals are the building blocks of music, and they're found all over the place. Chords are made up of intervals. Melodies are made up of intervals. Harmonies are intervals. Knowing about intervals helps make you a better composer, helps to train your ear, and helps you understand music on a deeper level. Intervals can be major, minor, perfect, augmented, or diminished. So how do we name these intervals or distance between notes? Well, let's start with the G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. That's a diatonic scale for the key of G major. Well, the distance between G to A is in the key of G, so whenever the note is in the key, it's a major interval, and it's an interval of a second because A is two notes away from G. So you count G as 1, A as 2, major second. B is in the key of G, so that's another major interval, and it's 3 notes away, G, A, B, so it's a major third interval. C is in the key of G, it's 4 notes away, G, A, B, C, and it's a perfect fourth interval. D is in the key of G, and it's 5 notes away, so it's a perfect fifth interval, G, A, B, C, D. The 4 and the 5 are always perfect intervals. E is in the key of G, so that means it's a major interval, and it's 6 notes away, G, A, B, C, D, E. So that means it's a major sixth interval. F sharp is in the key of G, so that means it's a major interval, and it's 7 notes away, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So that means it's a major 7 interval. Then the next G is in the key of G, and it's 8 notes away, so it's called an octave. A minor interval is when a major interval is lowered a half step or a semitone. So G to A is a major second. If we make it G to A flat, then it becomes a minor second interval. G to B is a major third interval. When we drop that third a half step and make it G to B flat, it becomes a minor third interval. When we take G to E, which is a major sixth interval, and make it E flat, it becomes a minor sixth interval, G to E flat. When we take G to F sharp and lower the F sharp down to an F, it becomes G to F. That's a minor seventh interval. Okay, are you still with me? A diminished interval is when a minor interval or a perfect interval is lowered a half step or a semitone. Then it becomes diminished. So G to D is a perfect interval, a perfect fifth. When that D is lowered to D flat, it becomes a diminished fifth interval. An augmented interval is when a major interval or a perfect interval is raised a semitone or a half step. So G to D is that perfect interval again. G to D sharp becomes an augmented fifth interval. You got it? Good. Okay, now we want to bring all this to the guitar neck, where it's going to make way more sense. Okay, so you want to pick one note and visualize how these intervals lay out around the note. And you want to memorize these shapes. So let's pick G, since we're dealing with the key of G. There's our G note. So our major second would look like this shape. So G to A. Our major third, G to B, looks like this. And it's that shape. G to C is our perfect fourth. And it just looks like that, 2 notes stacked on top of each other. And our perfect fifth, G G to D looks like that. Those are power chords. You gotta know that shape. G to E is our major 6. It looks like that. G to F sharp, which is our major 7, looks like that. And our octave, G to G, looks like this. And this shape comes up a lot too, like in pop punk music or rock and roll. Okay, so intervals look a little different when you're not dealing with a B string. So here's what they look like down here. So there's our G note. There's our major 2nd interval. Our major 3rd shape. Perfect 4th. Perfect 5th. Major 6th interval. And major 7th interval. And then our octave. Okay, then our minor shapes, our minor 3rd, our diminished 5th, our minor 6th, our minor 7th shape. Okay, so you might be wondering, what's the point of knowing all this stuff? Well, it just gives you a deeper understanding about how music is structured. So for example, you can see intervals within chords. So here's my G major chord. And I know that this is the 5th of the chord, just based off of that 5th shape that we memorized. And I know that this is my 3rd note of the chord, based off of the 3rd shape. And then it helps you move these intervals around within the chord to make different voicings. Another useful application is when you're improvising. Say you want to make the changes when you're improvising on a tune. You want to target the 3rd of each chord. You just know where the 3rds are. So if I have a G chord, I know that there's my G note, I know that this is the 3rd. If I have a C note, I know that this is my 3rd. And if I have an F note, I know that this is my 3rd. So it's really important to know the chord tones or the intervals. Another useful application in knowing about intervals is that it helps you learn music quicker. So if you're learning a melody, you can identify the intervals within that melody, and it makes it a lot easier to get under your fingers and be able to play it. And when you're creating harmonies, the 3rd is often a popular harmony to sing. Let me know in the comments down below any other useful applications of intervals you might know of. If you're struggling with the B minor chord, check out this video. See you in the next one.